Here you go. Looking for a proper woman for administrative type work. If you know somebody, there's the number. What is going on, guys? So we are here in the very touristic district here. As you can see, that's the main church over there. And this is where you can get a lot of souvenirs. You can get a lot of things here if you want, if you're into that. And this is where a lot of people come. They hang out. As you can see, the snow is melting. Things are getting a little bit warmer, at least not as before. And this is a good place to come to do a little bit of souvenir shopping if you want. Although you have to realize that it is a little bit more expensive here compared to some of the other shops. But nevertheless, this is a good place to come if you want to look at some souvenirs. They have some really great restaurants there. They have a nice beer house, a couple of really nice kind of hidden restaurants that a lot of people may not know about. So in this video, we're gonna walk around here. We're gonna go check out another neighborhood, really cool one. I'm gonna show you another one after that. And so this is gonna be a cool little walkabout here in very touristic part of Kyiv. And actually, when I initially moved to Kyiv, I ended up getting an apartment nearby. This is a little trivia for you, which was kind of cool. And so this is a cool neighborhood to check it out. So we're gonna check it out, see what we can find, anything interesting. So as you can see, you have some things that you can buy, some souvenirs, some locally made stuff, some interesting things over there, hats, various attire, football attire, soccer attire, things like that. And you can also buy some of the locally made stuff here. So it's really cool. It's not just, you know, your typical souvenir stuff that you can buy. As you can see, you have some very Ukrainian things that you can buy here as well. And you have some really good restaurants here as well. Here's some Pizza Hut, chicken soup, onion soup, hot wine. You can get if you want. And I'll be honest with you, there's some really good places here. Even though this is a very touristic district, there's actually some really cool places here to check out in terms of restaurants, beers, things like that. So I have eaten here. I have frequented a couple of places here from time to time. They're actually pretty good. And so here you have some matryoshkas, which I'm sure you've heard about, some Russian, Soviet stuff, more things here, and more paintings, art. Now what's really interesting about this is that recently, this was done in the last couple of years or so, they built out a whole area here. So all of this here was not built. This was actually fairly recently built. I'm talking about maybe in the last 3 to 4 years. So when I first arrived to Kyiv some years ago, this was not here. And this is actually, all of this is fairly new, and this is really cool because this wasn't here before. And this is actually really cool because this extends all the way. There's some really nice areas to relax, some great vistas, really nice thing that they did. And so as you can see, you have a really nice view here of the river Dnieper. You have the other neighborhoods over there called Levy Bereg, which is it stands for left coast. And that is a very kind of it's mainly just people living there. It's not really a lot of things to do there if you don't really live there. And if you look out in the distance, you can see the beach, which is actually a real beach here in Kyiv that you can frequent, and you can actually suntan there. And all of this here in the far distance, we have some of the remote neighborhoods, but all of this below is the neighborhood of Podol, which is a really cool historical neighborhood that I have stayed there a couple of times. And then we have a bridge there, we have other things. On this side we have a nice walkaway that you can just walk around, enjoy life, things like that. We have the view of the church here. And so this is a really great area. And like I said before, this was not here previously, so this is awesome. I don't even know what it's called in English. Andriivs'kyi street or something like. You have some really cool places to see. There's a really good theater here, not a movie theater, but more like plays, performances, stuff like that, which is really good to check out if you know a little bit of the local language. If not, you can, learn. You can just enjoy the performance as well, so that's cool too. You can get some coffee in here. You have some coffee prices, 20 hryvnia 35 over here. Check it out. And so I enjoy just walking around here every now and then. I definitely do not come here every day, and locals definitely do not come here every day. But whenever I have some friends visit me, I have maybe some relatives visit me, one of the first things that I do is I actually invite them to come here. And so if any of you are looking for a nice real estate deal, this house is for sale. And behind this facade, there's, I guess, the remains of a house. So if you're interested in something unique, interested in having some nice status, being able to impress somebody, this might be just the purchase for you. And now we're entering a very interesting neighborhood called Vozdvizhenka. And this is one of the most picturesque neighborhoods in all of Kiev, I would say. I would even say maybe it's disputed, but I would even say it's a little bit nicer than even, the center of Kiev, Zoloty Vorota, but maybe you like that one better. And so the thing about this neighborhood is that you have a lot of these kind of old architecture, a lot of these cool buildings here. But when you're talking about the actual buildings where people are supposed to be living, nobody is living. They're kind of empty, and nobody knows exactly why that is. There have been rumors that it's like this because the owners are overseas in the US, England, the UK, Western Europe, and so they kind of left them here. The other rumor is that the buildings are nice, but the infrastructure is not very good. And so in other words, the buildings are nice, the facade is nice, it looks nice, but the whole water, gas, etc., is not of very high quality. And so as a result, you have a lot of these gorgeous buildings, nice coffee shops, a couple of nice restaurants, but there's not a lot of locals that live here. And this is a big puzzle here. What this neighborhood is really used for, and this happens all the time, is for all kinds of photo shoots, movies. They had Van Damme come here not too long ago. I think it was like maybe half a year ago, last fall or in the last summer, I believe he was here. He was filming a movie for Netflix, and that was all over the news. And that movie, I think parts of it were filmed in this neighborhood. And so anybody that wants to do a photo shoot for a book, Instagram, things like that, the first thing that people decide to come, the first area, is this neighborhood. And so you have a couple of things. You have some businesses, some coffee shops, things like that. But when it comes to a neighborhood where you'd probably want to live, this would not be one of them, simply because A, it's very expensive, and B, it's kind of a very strange neighborhood. It's very beautiful, but it's not in my opinion, it's not a very livable neighborhood. And you have a street down there you can check out, also extends a little bit. And right now we are going downstream to Podol. Okay, so we're gonna be exiting on the other side of Podol here. And so as you can see, there's a building which is completely gutted, and next to it you have a nicer building. There's a girl looking over from the window saying hi. And as a result, it's kind of a strange, very interesting neighborhood here. But they do have some really nice coffee shops, some really nice stores. It's a great place to come to relax, to enjoy life. And in my opinion, being in the former Soviet Union, this is really cool because a lot of Kiev is very gray. It's very there's a lot of these Soviet buildings, and if that's your thing, that's cool. I'm kind of a little bit tired of it, honestly, and this is a nice little change of scenery. Very, very beautiful things that you can find here. And so we have a very artistic art here, that you can check out. So this is a nice jazz club here that I actually frequented a while ago. Really cool, really good place. This was like maybe a year or two ago. I can't remember. I really recommend it. I would probably have to check it out myself. Because of the quarantine, obviously, I already forgot how to go out and to enjoy life. And so this is something I'm going to be doing from time to time as well. And so we're continuing our journey along this neighborhood. There's going to be a really cool park just in a little bit. And then we are going to end up on a different part of Podol, because Podol has two parts. There's the Nizhny Val and Verkhny Val. Nizhny is the lower Podol, you can call it the lower part of the city. Like you have in other cities, you have the lower city and you have the upper city, and that is kind of how Podol is. You have the lower Podol and you have the upper Podol, and we're gonna be, I actually don't know which one. I think I want to say we're gonna be at the lower part of Podol, which is Nizhny Val over there. And so you have a park or remains of some park, you have another street over there, and then you have some new construction or remodeling. And as you can see, it's a beautiful neighborhood, and you have a lot of for rent signs. You have a lot of, I see an apartment over there that's being for sale. I see for rent, arenda over there in the yellow, that means for rent. So you have something that's for rent over there. Maybe it's that lower floor, the business floor. And so as you can see, you have some new developments here, and then you have some of the older developments here. So as we walk towards the end of this neighborhood, you are pretty much at the end, because you have some of the older developments. All of this is old. This is all old stuff. And there you had the new developments. And so as you can see, the atmosphere, the ambience rapidly changed, and now you are looking at the rest of Kyiv. We're entering Podol, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Kyiv. You have a church here, and this is a Russian Orthodox church at the end of this neighborhood that is really nice and great condition. But other than the garbage over there, you pretty much don't have you know, the nicer buildings and things like that. And this is the end of the street as well, and so we're gonna be going into Podol, checking it out and seeing what we can find over there. And so here we are walking on the lower Podol, which is the beginning of Podol, and as you can see, it's completely different than the previous neighborhood. You have some unfinished buildings, or buildings that are being finished and gonna be finished in the near future. You have your typical, you know, your regular street here with traffic. You have kind of these older buildings. You have Pamятник культуры, which is a monument, culture monument over here, 1893. And if you did not know, Podol is actually one of Kiev's oldest neighborhoods. And so this is a great neighborhood to be. Actually lived here for some time before settling in another neighborhood. This is not exactly center, technically center, although some people do consider it center. But nevertheless, this is a pretty cool neighborhood to check out. A lot of really cool coffee shops. There's a couple of coffee shops I really like. Really laid back culture, really nice things to do. If you know, spend some time here and discover where to go, where to not to go. What a nice dog, huh? So what I like about Podol is that it's a very old school neighborhood. It has that touch of something really old, something really unique. Because here you have the rail tracks for the tramway, which is a tram, if you still don't know what that means. And you have a lot of these small buildings, a lot of these old buildings. And to be honest with you, I have a friend here. He likes Podol. He always lived here, he likes it. He's a foreigner. He's actually from the States. And Podol is his thing. He kept moving. He ended up finding a really good apartment. He really likes Podol. Me, I'm not a huge fan of Podol. I really like some of the other neighborhoods in the center a lot better. So Podol is like, you know, Greenwich Village in New York City. It could be your neighborhood. It might not be your neighborhood. Me personally, I like more in the center. But I'm sure many of you who have been to Kiev or are planning to go to Kiev might be interested in a neighborhood like this. And so here you have another church, another Russian Orthodox church here, a really well-known church. And you have a lot of these old buildings. You have this building here, you have that building that's 2 floors. You have another pre-Soviet buildings that's 4 floors. And actually, like I said before, I really like these shorter buildings. I like buildings that are 4 floors. I like buildings that are not like, 20 floors or 50 floors, because I feel it's a little bit inhumane to be living with so many people that are not really, nobody knows each other, nobody knows what's up. So in my opinion, these are actually pretty cool buildings. Now honestly, I don't know if I would live in a building such as that one. It's a little bit, I don't know, not the most, not in the most presentable state. But nevertheless, it's a cool neighborhood, lots of interesting things to do, lots of really hidden gems. In fact, if I had to pick one neighborhood that I feel has a lot of hidden gems, nice coffee shops, nice little restaurants, it would probably be Podol. Because Podol is one of those neighborhoods that I come to hang out, I come to spend time, have a good time, but it's not really a neighborhood for me to kind of live in. Obviously your opinions may differ, and that is cool. Let me know if you've ever been to Podol, or if this is your favorite neighborhood. So here you have one of the main squares, and this is Kontraktovaya Ploshchad, as you can see, of one of the main squares in Podol. That's actually an excursion. It goes around Kiev. I think it lasts for a couple of hours. As you can see, people have seated down comfortably, eating, enjoying life, things like that. And as you can see, this is a special tramvay, right? Tramvay Cafe Kyiv.ua. And as you can see, you can get it, and this is a for excursion stuff. This is the front of the tramvay here, and here's the Расклад Экскурсии, which is the how it's gonna travel, what kind of things you have, and these are all the schedules here for this specific tram. So here's a really nice mural here to check out, very unique, very interesting. And so this is what I like about Kiev and Ukraine and ex-Soviet Union countries, is that they're unpredictable. You could be walking around and you can find some really interesting old police cars, as you can see, with old number plates. You have, well, not only police, yeah, it says militia, which is militia, or how police was called in the Soviet Union. Then you have a ambulance here, a really old ambulance. Check this out, really amazing. And this was not even planned, but actually the star of the show is that BTR. Check this out, and this is amazing. I've never seen this before, and you're not gonna find this in a lot of Western countries, just randomly walking around. And here you have a real BTR that's just standing in front of this building. You have the police sign right there, and just walking around without any plans, you're gonna stumble on something amazing in the capital of a big East European country, a big capital where you can find it. But what's even better actually is traveling around Ukraine, around the ex-Soviet Union. You're gonna be discovering a lot of these interesting things in some of the smaller cities. Because legacy is legacy and history is history, you're gonna find some very interesting things. Another thing I want to show you is that building in the distance. Really cool architecture, really beautiful. It's a little bit dated, obviously. It needs a little bit of remodeling, really fixed. But if you look at the top, the top of the building, there's some really nice designs, really cool architecture, and this is all here in Podol. And so there's a lot of things that I like about Kiev and Ukraine and Eastern Europe. But what I really don't like is when they take a balcony and do something like this, because this building didn't even have a balcony, or it may have one balcony, a very regular balcony, but what they do is they create a little house where they store a lot of their old things, a lot of things that they don't need. They're gonna dry stuff, and I really hate when they do that. This is something you're gonna see all over Kiev, and I really don't like that because it definitely ruins the ambience. I think it's cool if they do that in you know, in a neighborhood far away from the center, somewhere far away. But I don't think it's really cool if they do that in one of the central neighborhoods, because it ruins the ambience, it ruins the atmosphere. But that is my personal opinion. Maybe you're into that. I don't know. Do let me know. And by the way, that house that I was just talking about, that house was built over 100 years ago, over 150 years ago. And unfortunately, it's very common for people to live in one of these, you know, artifacts of history and to ruin it by, you know, doing whatever they want with it. Here you go. Looking for a proper woman for administrative type work. If you know somebody, there's the number. Some coffee. We got some coffee over here. What I want to bring to your attention is these cups over here. These are very Soviet Union cups that I've never seen before in a coffee shop. Check this out. This is very common in old babushka house somewhere in the boonies. But here you are in the center of Kiev having some really nice, beautiful coffee, some dessert out of these cups full of history and tradition. So just had some really nice coffee, relaxed for a bit. Really hope you enjoyed this little tour. Really hope you enjoyed this video, learned something new. I want you to do one quick thing for me. There's a red button underneath this video. If you can click on that button, very good things are gonna happen, and you are gonna be notified when new important things come up, such as new videos, new tours, things like that. Alright guys, so having said that, I will see you in the next one.